Every now and then, we hear headlines like Nigeria secures another loan, Nigeria's debt profile rises again, or government plans fresh borrowing. And you begin to wonder, where is all this money going? Because if a country keeps borrowing, you expect to see results in real life. You expect better roads, better hospitals, better schools, stable electricity, and generally a better standard of living. But guess what? Life still feels harder. So the question becomes, where is all the money being borrowed going? Hello and welcome to Policy Watch by PolicyTV. I'm Miberon Omoluju. Now let's break it down in simple terms. As of December 2025, Nigeria's total public debt stood at about 159.28 trillion naira, according to the Debt Management Office. That means the country added over 14 trillion naira to its debt within just 1 year. Now, 159 trillion naira is such a huge figure that it can sound abstract to some persons. So let's make it relatable. Nigeria's population is estimated at around 220 million people. If you divide 159 trillion naira across every Nigerian, that is roughly 700,000 naira per person. Of course, nobody is going to send you a bill personally, but it helps you to understand the size of what the country owes. Now, to be clear, debt itself is not automatically bad. Countries borrow money all the time. In fact, borrowing can help a country grow if it is used wisely. Government borrows money to build roads, fix electricity, improve healthcare, improve education, and fund infrastructure that can grow the economy over time. That is what experts call productive borrowing. So the issue is not borrowing alone. The real question is, are we borrowing wisely and are Nigerians seeing the impact? Now, let's look at the budgets because this is where it gets interesting. Nigeria's 2025 national budget was about 54.99 trillion. Out of that, around 14 trillion was allocated to debt servicing alone. And debt servicing simply means repaying existing loans and paying interest on those loans. Let me explain what that means in everyday language. Imagine you earn 100,000 naira every month. And before you buy food, before you pay rent, before you sort transport or electricity, 40,000 naira or 50,000 naira has already gone into paying old debts. This is the kind of pressure Nigeria is under. Because once a huge chunk of revenue is already committed to old debts, there is less money left for actual development. But here is another angle to this conversation. Maybe Nigeria does not have a debt problem. Maybe Nigeria has an income problem. Because debt is easier to manage when income is strong. The challenge is that Nigeria's revenue remains weak. In simple terms, Nigeria may not be earning enough to sustain the kind of spending and development it wants. And then there is the spending problem, because some analysts argue that Nigeria also has a spending problem, not necessarily because government spends too much, but because spending is not always efficient. Budgets are announced, allocations are made, projects are listed, but the results on ground do not always match the figures. Now the big question is, what exactly should the government do? If there is one solution that could actually change things, it's this. Nigeria needs to stop depending so heavily on borrowing and aggressively increase what the country earns. In simple terms, the real long-term solution is not to keep taking loans, it is to increase revenue. Because the truth is, debt becomes dangerous when income is low. Think of it like this. If someone earns 1 million naira every month, paying back a loan of 100,000 naira is easier. But if someone earns 100,000 naira monthly, that same loan becomes a burden. That is exactly Nigeria's problem. The country is borrowing, but the money coming in is not strong enough. We have to aggressively expand and stabilize our revenue base, especially through oil production and non-oil exports. Right now, the country is still heavily dependent on oil, but production has been inconsistent due to theft, pipeline vandalism, and operational inefficiencies. When oil output drops, revenue automatically shrinks, and the government is forced to borrow to fill the gap. So, the most direct fix here is not more borrowing. It's fixing the leakages in oil production while also growing non-oil income streams like agriculture exports, manufacturing, and solid minerals. So, in simple terms, the solution is earn more, waste less, borrow less. Because borrowing to build is understandable, but borrowing because income is weak and borrowing because spending is inefficient, that is where the danger lies. Because, truth be told, if we do not get this right now, future generations may inherit more debt than development. They may spend more time paying for yesterday's decisions than building tomorrow's future. And that is a conversation we need to have now before the burden becomes too heavy to carry. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Miberon Omoloju, and this has been Policy Watch by PolicyTV. Goodbye.